think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Money Level Show, where we think, act, and prosper. This is your host, Daryl Thomas. I'm here with Shawn of Dolly Varden. I've been seeing Dolly Varden. The name has been ringing bells. I've seen you on multiple different shows and everything. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for having me on.
That's good. That's good. So today, we're at the Rule Symposium, and obviously every company here Rick invests in, and so looking at the capital structure of Dolly Varden, I mean, you got people like Eric Sprott, Fidelity, you got a lot of institutional investors in there, and then what has Rick seen in Dolly Varden that has drawn him to invest in there too?
Great question. Just want to touch on the capital structure. I believe that that's the foundation of a company. And having alignment, like for me to explain to my shareholders the vision of the company, to understand the time horizon, for them to understand the capital that's necessary, what it takes, the risks, the rewards, and validating the company with the world's fastest growing established silver miner. Hecla is a 15% shareholder, Eric at 10%, Fury at 19.9%, institutions at about 50%. Like, you only have about 10% in the hands of the public. So it's a name that there's a lot of alignment. I think what Rick sees is Rick viewed the old Dolly Varden, because this was the richest silver mine in the British Empire. This was Canada's third largest silver mine. But what Rick saw was a toy mine, small, it's high grade, and thought it was interesting if the price of silver shot up. But what changed his perception and why he invested in the company and invited the company here, and this is our third year here, is when we bought the home stake deposit. So I came into this company. The company was valued at about $16 million in 2020. And I've brought about $90 million of capital through the Fidelities and the Erics and the Heclas. But most importantly, we made an acquisition, and this is what got Rick interested. And the acquisition we made brought in 1 million ounces of gold and 20 million ounces of silver to complement the 44 million ounces we had. So if we talked about this in a silver equivalent, it's about 150 million ounces silver EQ, and it's the third richest silver mine on the planet. Okay, so it's rich, and now it's got the size and scale. But so Rick talks about the unanswered questions. So what Rick is most intrigued by is the opportunity to connect the deposits. So you have two main centers of gravity in terms of ounces, Dolly and Homestake. But there's about 5 kilometers in between, and what my team has understood is every 1.5 kilometers there's another deposit. And we've been proving that, and recently we had some results out of Moose and Chance, and they're exactly 1,400 meters apart from one another, and 1,400 meters apart from Wolf, and 1,400 meters apart from Torbrit. So you got a number of these things. So Rick likes the grade. He says he likes the team. He says, this idea of connecting deposits intrigues him. So it's got a lot of the right elements that you need for success.
Yeah, that's good. So currently, what's the market cap of Dolly Varden right now?
It's roughly 315 million Canadian dollars.
Wow, so that's significant, especially when we look at here. There's a lot of junior resource companies and such, and many don't have that type of capital, right? That's a lot of capital to be working with. So I saw that there was about $18 million in cash. What does that current allocation looks like? Are you looking at more acquisitions? Are you looking at debt repayments? What does that look like for the company?
So we've got zero debt. We have zero warrants, so there's no overhang. And the investors that have come into the name are big shareholders. So we did a $15 million financing back in March. It was essentially taken up by 3 large existing shareholders.
Wow.
So the plan is this is a company that my vision is I see the company as a bank. So cash is one reserve in the balance, but the other is, and most importantly, is the silver inventory. And as silver prices continue to rise, we're going to get a higher value for the ounces we have in the ground. The miners that are here, every day they get up, they deplete their mineral inventory. They deplete their reserves. They need to replenish those resources. And one way to do that is by acquiring companies like Dolly Varden. Now, I could have sat on my hands and this company would have appreciated over time. But what we've opted to do is to get out there and to explore. So we have 3 rigs that are drilling. So the $18 million is going to enable us to try to continue to grow that mineral inventory. Right? Because ultimately that's what's going to drive the value of the company. And when I started, we were trading at 37 cents an ounce in the ground, multiplied by 44 million ounces. It was about $16 million US market cap. Today, we've got over 140 million ounces silver equivalent, multiplied by about $1.80, because that's how you get our valuation. But I believe there's a lot more silver to uncover here. And I think we're going to get at least $4 an ounce in the ground. We've already seen it trade there multiple times. Back in August of 2020, we were trading at over $4 an ounce in the ground. I think we'll get back there and higher. And the question I have is there going to be 150 million ounces in the ground, 200 million ounces in the ground, or more? And multiply that by where you think the price of silver is going. So that's the opportunity. But the differentiator is this. Okay, gold is not rare. In North America alone, there's 170 gold projects that have 750,000 ounces of gold. Silver's a lot more rare. There's only 33 projects in North America that have over 25 million ounces of silver. There's only 14 that have both the silver and the gold. What makes Dolly Varden number 1 is the grade. So we have silver, we have gold, but we've got it at grades that are almost 5 times greater than our competitors. That's what makes this project unique. It's a unicorn, but what separates it from everybody is where it's located. You look at what's going on in Mexico. Mexico is the number 1 silver producing nation on the planet, right? But the new government and the old government has made it almost impossible to permit new projects, and then if it's not the government, you've got narcos, and you've just got instability, insecurity. You look at what happened in Bolivia recently, another silver-rich country with an attempted coup. You've got challenges in Peru, and Argentina. Even though they're on a positive move, it's still a part of the world where historically has been very, very unstable. And so we're in BC, Canada, in an area that is the richest 20 kilometers on planet Earth for silver and gold mineralization. I'm surrounded by the SK Creek deposit, the Premier deposit, the Bruce Jack deposit, which all started off like Dolly Varden as silver deposits. And then they became known as some of the greatest gold systems. And that's what we're finding at Dolly. It's a silver mine that's showing a large gold deposit, but it's still 64 times richer in silver than it is to gold. We've got 64 million ounces of silver, 1 million ounces of gold, and we're finding a lot more of both.
That's good, that's good. So why silver? Obviously the company is built around finding silver, you find gold in it. What is it about silver that attracts Dolly Varden to want to find more of it?
It's a good question. So I've been studying precious metals for 20 years. Professionally, been advancing mining companies for 20 years. And the unique setup we have in the silver market today is we are only producing about 800 million ounces of silver as an industry. We're mining 800 million new ounces every year. Now the value of that multiplied by $30 is about $24 billion. That's what NVIDIA trades in a day, to put it into context.
Yep.
It's a small business. It's a small market. The problem is, because of the solar industry and because of the fact that gold is trading at $2,400 an ounce, people that historically would buy gold, like Indian consumers who are looking and celebrating gold's monetary history as money, can't afford gold. The Indian buyer buying gold and rupees, priced out of the market. So what are they doing? They're buying silver. So in Q1 of this year, 35% of demand for silver came from solar and came from India. So I'm seeing a setup right now in silver where the demand for silver is exceeding 1 billion ounces on an annual basis. That's 70% industry, 30% monetary. Silver, only a quarter of the silver that we mine comes from primary silver mines like the Dolly Varden. Most of it gets pushed out as a byproduct. Now, if you look at what's happening in the mining space and in the world, look what happened in Panama, where they said, no, we don't want this project. Well, most of the silver comes as a byproduct from copper mines or a byproduct from other mines, lead mines, zinc mines. As it becomes more increasingly difficult to permit and to finance these projects, where are we going to get the silver? So I think we're moving, and that's why, look, when I took over this company, the price of silver was $16. It's almost twice that today.
Yeah.
And the silver to gold ratio is still as high as 77 to 1. Historically, that's 15 to 1. In modern history, 30 to 1.
Yeah.
So we're going back there. And when we do, even if gold just stays here, and I don't know how gold stays here with the printing of money, the fact that, $1 trillion new dollars need to be created every 100 days. How's gold going to stay here? It's not. That's why you're seeing silver starting to outperform. And the ratio's gone from 125. It took me 125 ounces of silver back 4 years ago to get 1 ounce of gold. Now it's 77. I'll be standing here, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after, and we'll be talking about 30 to 1, if not 20 to 1. And that's where it's going. And you know what? If you look back at my interviews I did in September of 2023, when silver was $20, I was banging my head on the table. The year before at $18. And we've seen moves. We've seen the stocks, and the stocks are the way to get the leverage.
Yeah, the torque.
The torque. And that's why, the silver price might be up 40, 50% in the last couple of months. Some of the equities are up 100. And so typically, as we move into a more mature bull market in precious metals, silver equities should outperform the metal by 300%. A 20% move in the metal should be a 60% move in the equities.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So where can the audience find more about Dolly Varden? You're on the OTC, you're on the TSX, and then I'm sure you have a website. Where can they find out more?
And listen, we're super active on social media. We're active on X under Silver Varden is our handle. We've got a website, dollyvardensilver.com. We're old school. We have a toll-free number, 800-321-8564. We love talking to shareholders, not just about Dolly, but about silver, about other companies in the mining space. We work with a dynamic group of companies, and Dolly is our silver vehicle. It's our flagship, and it's one of the largest market caps that we've got.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, Shawn, appreciate you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
All right.